What is going on, everyone? My name is Jared, and today we are talking a little bit about internet security and more specifically what a fake Microsoft scam looks like. Now, this isn't, the Nigerian prince email saying that you just got inherited or he's going to give you a ton of money. This isn't phishing for your credentials. This is one that has kind of been more popularized by people doing scam baiting or basically calling up these people and wasting their time. So anyway, I'm going to show you what they do, how to identify that, and what you can really do to protect against a scenario like this. So this really could happen to just about anybody. You could be browsing around the internet. You could be just searching something. Maybe you clicked on something you shouldn't have. Maybe a friend downloaded something on your computer. Or maybe you just, sometimes this happens when you mistype a common web address like Google or eBay, Amazon, something like that. But basically what happens, the idea of this scam is they show you a very convincing fake pop-up, right? So what it does is it tells you, malicious software detected or pornographic spyware, malware, something like that. And more or less, they give you an error code. It might talk to you. It might not talk to you. Call us immediately. All your data is going to be gone, your banking details, you name it. They, in the ad or in their pop-up, they say that it is going to get stolen, compromised, taken, etc. So, of course, if you're someone who might not be as savvy with computers or someone who just might be worried, you call the toll-free number. You call up, they tell you it's Microsoft Technical Support, and they run you through some steps of how they're going to fix your computer. And normally, I use the general rule of, if it seems fishy, it probably is, or if it's too good to be true, it probably is with some of the scams that, offer you money or something like that. But this one, I'm specifically targeting because it happened to a family member, and when I was talking to her, it was very easy to tell that this was a scam, that this was something that wasn't legit whatsoever. And there's a lot of telltale signs that you can tell, you can see, especially if you're just a little bit savvy or just a little bit critical of what is going on. This specific scam doesn't require you really to download anything. It can happen just by misclicking a link or going to a wrong website. It can happen, however, if you have adware, it might direct you to a page that looks something like this. So, as you can see, this is what a general tech support scan pop-up looks like. Basically, this is highlighting where there's kind of potential areas of inconsistency of what it's trying to say. So up at the top of the address bar, you can see that this is not coming from Microsoft. It is 2.speedlog.co. And basically what happens is these call centers, they buy up a bunch of these domains, a bunch of these URLs, and they just plaster this ad. And like I said, it could talk, it could be scripted, it could make it so it just keeps popping up no matter how many times you click the X or close your browser. Anyway, it's going to be convincing, and it's going to show you that, it's going to look as if it's coming from a secure spot like support.microsoft. On the top here, it says that it's coming from Microsoft, warning alert, malicious, gives you this error code. Call us immediately at whatever this number goes to. Do not ignore, again, toll free. And most of the time, this pop-up won't get clicked off unless you hit that box where it says prevent this page from creating additional dialogues, or you force quit on your browser. One of the ways to really tell that this is a scam, first and foremost, is if you had a virus on your computer, your internet browser is not going to tell you you have a virus. It'll be your security software, whether that's Windows Defender, Bitdefender, Norton, Avast, whatever that may be. That's going to be the pop-up you see, and it'll say threat detected or something like that. It's not going to be coming in the shape of this. You can even tell in the background it has, fixyourbrowser.com, and it just doesn't look super legit. It does at first glance, but it doesn't when you look at it more. So what happens after this is you call this number. They're going to run you through some steps saying you're going to go to the Windows R key, which opens a run box. which looks like this. They're going to tell you to go to something like www. They might tell you a website here like fastsupport.com or something like that. All that's doing is that's just giving you basically a go-to URL sort of thing. And this is where they're going to start their scam by connecting to your computer. So you type in their credentials, their support key, whatever. Now even some softwares like LogMeIn are actually asking if you want to connect to this person if you don't know them, because it could potentially be harmful depending on the area. You know, a lot of these tech support scams do come from not in the U.S. They do come from the U.S. and they do come from other places, but a lot of the times it's a call center in India or wherever, and they detect that when you connect to your computer. From there, they're going to run a couple things. The first thing they might do to convince you that there's hackers on your network is run a little command called netstat. And what that does, if I typed it correctly, it shows you every connection that you have on your computer. Basically, this is going to be what is on your network, things that are on your Wi-Fi or whatever. But as this happens, they call this foreign address right here a hacker. Now, for example, my computer's name on the network is Captain. These are all connections that my computer has. Nothing malicious, foreign about it. All these connections are things that my computer has done, and it is all local, meaning this is internal in my network. So this is nothing to be worried about. It is nothing that is going to do harm. These are normal connections. But anyway, they're going to say that, look at all these hackers. Oh my God, there's 20 hackers or whatever. That's usually their first step. After that, they're going to open up another command prompt window, which they're going to run a nice little command, which is tree. The tree command is a favorite by these people because they tell you that it's going to be a fake, or they tell you it's going to be a network scam. It's going to tell you everything that's wrong. So when you do that, it looks like it's doing something, right? It's flying through all these little things, and you know, to someone who maybe doesn't look at these files, or you know, they actually are your files, but for someone who doesn't read these line of text, you might not know. So just for example, you have right here a folder which holds my Wolfenstein 2 game save file. This is not a scan. All Tree does is list every file and every folder and every directory on your computer. So you look up here, it's going to go into your literally everything from game files to your documents to your pictures to whatever. And if you just keep scrolling, you'll see eventually where all that stuff is. And if you actually scrolled up and look at it, you can see here's all bookmarks for a web browser. You know, it's pretty self-evident as you look at it. So anyway, what they'll do when that command is running, so for example, I'll go down all the way to the bottom again. I'll type in tree, and while they do that, they're going to type in, I couldn't even do it fast because this is my actual computer, but they're going to type something that says virus detected, hackers found, network compromised, any of this bogus stuff. And that's actually just them typing it. So usually, if it's slower, they have time to type it, or they might even just copy paste it from a clipboard they have on their computer. And that is their step 2 into getting you to believe there's something wrong with your computer. Usually the last little tidbit of information they give the potential victim is to have them open Event Viewer, or they open it for them. So Event Viewer basically lets the computer catalog all the different things that happen. Updates, connections, a whole bunch of different stuff. All this is 100% completely normal. This is going to be full all the time. It's going to tell you all these little details, warnings, errors, information, and this is just what's happening on your computer. It is nothing bad. It is nothing that is harmful to your computer. It's just something that is happening. So if I scroll through my system Windows logs, you see a bunch of errors and warnings and number of events, 5,285. Now that would be where the scammer goes, oh my God, you have 5,285 different viruses or errors or whatever they want to call it. Sometimes their script changes from time to time. And this is where they start to seal the deal with the victim about what is going on. So at that point, they're going to open up Notepad. They're going to bring up a Notepad window, and they're going to drag it on over. They're going to say they need to collect some information from you. They want your name, your address, all this stuff, and then they're going to go through your options. And they're going to say for 1 year of protection, you're going to have, say, $299. For 3 years, $499. And then for lifetime support, you get sometimes 1,000, sometimes 800, but for this instance, we'll say $899. And then they're going to ask you, well, do you have other stuff on your network? Do you have smartphones or tablets or TVs or whatever, appliances? And of course, most of the people will say, yeah, I got a couple phones, I got a tablet, I got whatever, smart TV. And they're like, oh, well, this will protect everything. It's network protection, whole sort of network protection for your system. So this is kind of where my family member got took. So they went through this song and dance, and she actually had paid them to fix her computer. So meanwhile, they're connected. They're remote desktop in, and anytime you can disable their connection, but a lot of people don't know that. And they're going to fix your computer for this price amount. You're just going to, sometimes they'll be sophisticated enough and they'll give you a link to a payment portal for their service. And this goes to a different website. It's not going to say Microsoft. It's going to say something completely different. And they're going to want you to enter in your credentials. Sometimes they say credit card or bank card. Sometimes they say checkbook or savings account. Kind of depends on the scam. Either way, they're going to run your information. And if they get paid, they may do nothing to your computer at all. Sometimes I've seen where they actually install something like Malwarebytes or some sort of antivirus, like free antivirus software you'd find online. Sometimes they do that. So that's the general gist of how one of these tech support scams go. Now, if you are curious, you could go on YouTube and search scam baiting. There's a bunch of good people. There's Jim Browning, who is this really great guy who does scam baiting, but actually usually tries to help the people that have been victimized by these people. He finds out a lot of information, and he ends up turning that over to authorities. There's people who stream it on Twitch and on YouTube, called like Kit Boga. I think that's how you say it. But anyway, he streams it, and he's kind of in the middle. Like he definitely wastes their time. He tries to have a talk with them as why they're doing it. And sometimes it's pretty interesting as the conversations that follow after that. And then there's people who really kind of just waste the time, like Leo Tactics, who basically just messes with these scammers, waste their time so that while they're with him, they're not scamming an innocent victim, a family member, a friend of yours, out of money. So what happens if you get scammed? Well, hopefully if they actually just do something on your computer that isn't super malicious, the best thing to do if you think you got scammed is do a chargeback on your card or contact your bank if that happens. Next thing, obviously, I wouldn't even bother calling them back. They're not going to give you any money back if you call them. Just deal with your bank, your credit card company. They're usually good about it. Tell them it's suspicious of a scam, blah, blah, blah. They should be able to help you out pretty easily. And how to protect yourself really is just being aware of what's going on. If you're concerned about safety on the internet, use something like a VPN server for anonymity. If you're worried about viruses or malware, download something like Malwarebytes. It is relatively inexpensive, and it does a great job at protecting you with real-time protection. Or if you want virus scanning and a little extra firewall, personally I use Bitdefender, not sponsored or anything, but it's a good program. It's not very taxing, and it can help you out, detect some malicious programs that may be running. If you accidentally run something, it should stop them, quarantine them, and get rid of them before they could actually do harm on your PC. And as far as trying to watch out for these tech support scams, I've even had them where they've called my mom, a cold call, granted, and call up saying, I heard your Windows computer has a problem. And my mom proceeds to tell them that I don't have a Windows PC. She actually has a Mac laptop, even though she does, and they don't know what to say. They're trying to cold call you to get you to think that there's a problem. So if the call like that happens, just hang up. You could report the number, things like that, or don't even let it worry you. And something really to be aware of, if you are a Mac user out there and you do see a Windows pop up and get worried, this is kind of what happened to the family member of mine. She has a Mac PC that I set up for her, or a Mac laptop, not a Mac PC, a Mac laptop that I set up for her, and she got the tech support scam for Windows, not understanding that Windows is not on her computer, that she has, you know, Mac OS or Macintosh or, you know, whatever that software was specifically on that computer. So just be aware. And if you have a question, if you think your computer does have a problem, probably one of the safest bets is to call either your manufacturer of your computer. If you have a Dell, Dell has technical support, things of that nature. Actually look up the Windows number versus getting that pop-up. Make sure it's the Windows site. Or, you know, ask somebody who you might know that has a better idea of what's going on, or maybe have seen something before. Really, that's the best way. And like I said before, the best way to protect yourself is just being aware of what is going on, being aware of what you're looking at, being aware of what you're clicking and downloading. A lot of times these adwares and malwares get, you know, secretly placed into installers, which is how I got it. And I am usually very good about catching that. But basically, I was just clicking through the installer to install something, and it had some potentially unwanted stuff in it. And that's what prompted me to get one of those pop-ups, and I go, you got to be kidding me. And it opened up Windows, and, you know, it was more annoying than anything. But just be aware. I wasn't. That's why it happened to me. You know, I didn't call up the fake tech support, but, you know, things like this, they're always around. They're always going to try to grab new victims. They're always going to try to make a quick dollar. So anyway, I hope this helped you out. It was kind of a really brief and quick rundown of what these tech support scams does, or what they do to their victims. If this is ringing home with you at all, and this has happened to you, again, contact however you paid them, whether it be bank or credit card or whatever. Get your money back, dispute that charge, because 100% not real. If they're running the tree command, syskey, netstat, all this stuff is typical scammer stuff, just to trick people into thinking that they're actually doing work when they're really not. Running a few commands doesn't constitute a full computer scam. So hope this helped you out. I hope you learned a little bit of information about how these tech support scams work. If this happened to you and something different happened, let me know down below. I'd like to see how this changes among different areas of the world, maybe, and different users. And if you've actually talked to them, what your experience was. Usually they're very pushy as to wanting you to get to that payment part, and heaven forbid you give them a mistaken credentials or you miss a number in your credit card. They get very, very frustrated and assume that you're just wasting their time. Real tech support would want to try to help you out as much as they can, legitimately, versus always just worrying about that payment option. So anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope this helped, and I will see everyone in the next video.